All right, sorry about that. So what I was saying with this energy is that having Queen of Swords be facing the Ace of Pentacles, but the Ace of Cups is behind them, feels like this is not the thing that's being analyzed. It feels like this is something that's going on. So there can be like, I know a connection is there. I know that this new chapter is getting started. That just is something that's going on in the environment. I don't need to look further into that. I'm just aware of that, and it's good where it is. What you can really be thinking about is like what's going to materialize and what's going to come of this. See how Queen of Swords is facing this? So you can be thinking about maybe like what this is that needs to come from you, because it almost kind of looks like they're the ones that are giving something here. So you can be thinking about maybe what exactly it is that you're going to contribute to this chapter that you're stepping into. And there can also be a question too when we have Queen of Swords of where is this going to go? I see a lot of potential, but Queen of Swords can be when we're not just wanting to, you don't just want to let it rock and then go anywhere and have it feel like you didn't specify the direction of things. When we have Queen of Swords looking at something like this, we can want to take a look at kind of the raw material that we have that is beginning here and ask ourselves, how do I want to shape this? What direction do I want things to go in? What direction do I not want things to go in? And so these sorts of questions can be things that are coming to the forefront now because this is so new. It can be something where a lot of these questions can be unanswered right now, and it can be something that you're trying to figure out. And I think also a method of the Queen of Swords is one where there's more of a tuning in. Like, I want to listen to what I'm seeing here. I want to be observing what's going on and see what the potential is and what I can do with that. So this isn't just like you have something in front of you, you're going to disregard the ingredients and try to make whatever. This is tuning in and saying, like, what ingredients do I have here? And me listening to what that is and witnessing what that is, then I can figure out what kind of shape can I make with this? What kind of recipe can I make with this? So this can be what you're doing. So it's going to be a mix of what you want to do with this, but only after you tune into the potential of what's presenting itself to you and what you can do with that specifically, because every situation is different. So you can be looking at this specifically and be like, what's the potential for this and where can things go? And also, like, what would my preference be if I do have any preferences here? Do I have some preferences here? Whether it be for something or not for something. Because, I mean, also, too, we can say having Queen of Swords, maybe you're being more discerning with the things that you're getting into. So maybe you're inspecting this a little bit. I see you and another person here. Why do I almost get the feeling a little bit of holding something back? I don't know. This Queen of Swords, maybe you could be holding your feelings back. You could be holding back from expressing your feelings for someone even though they're there. I'm just saying it like that because this definitely can have to do with another person. It doesn't have to be just a disclaimer, but if you know that you have something going on with another person, as many of you I'm sure do, because we're seeing 2 court cards here, you can, if you're the Queen of Swords here, you can be holding back some of your feelings, even though I'm definitely seeing them be there, and be like, what are you bringing to the table? It can be a little bit of that here, because see how the Ace of Cups is behind Queen of Swords? So this can be something where you're kind of like holding it behind your back and you're like, well, I'm not gonna like be affectionate with you until you have this conversation with me about like what it is that we're doing here together. So maybe you're even saying like, maybe you can show up in practical ways, or maybe you're like, I'll put the energy in, or I'll put the time in, possibly. Like, what are you going to do about that? And then maybe like once you see what's going on with this person, you can bring this side of things out, because Queen of Swords can also be known to be like a little bit cool sometimes. So maybe something's going on with you and this person. I'm seeing an air sign and I'm seeing an earth sign here. Maybe there's something going on with you and this person where you're kind of being like all business with them, but it's like those feelings are definitely there, but you can be definitely like holding back a bit here with you and this person. I'm seeing justice, so maybe there was something that went on between the two of you that would make you, I don't know, want to play it like this. I think that there's an awareness here of everything, but I think that this is also saying, like, I don't want to lay all my cards out on the table. I want to know what's going on with you first, and I want to know what you want to do about this, and then kind of seeing if it's, maybe you're just seeing if it's safe to kind of expose this, or it can even be seeing if it's safe to, or a good idea even, to say, like, I'm open emotionally. I wouldn't say that, if you're the Queen of Swords here, I wouldn't say that you're testing this person. It feels more like trying to feel them out, and then depending on what's going on with that, you can be like, well, this is how I'm feeling about things, but that may not be part of what's going on initially, even though we start with that energy. So I feel like it's kind of about that. It's kind of about the connection. It can kind of be about what's going on energetically. It can be about what's going on emotionally. It can be about what the feeling is here between these two people. But you can also feel too like, there's something having to do with the earth that feels important, having pentacles here. So this can be about, like, how does this work as far as shared time, and what are we building together, and what is the practical side of this with us here. And then it feels like once that's sort of squared away, it can, other stuff can happen. But maybe you're wanting to have that discussion first, and you're holding back feelings until, or like even in emotional openness, you know, this can be kind of like you may not be hiding your feelings, but you're not maybe expressing them as far as, I just see it as being like maybe a little bit less affectionate than you normally would be, having Ace of Cups behind your back and having Queen of Swords here. Because Queen of Swords is like it's more of an air energy, so it's not going to be, and it feels like deliberate, because that may not, you may usually be in a little bit of a different energy, but you can be standing within this energy to interact, to like interface with this person specifically. But then depending on maybe what is communicated between you and this person, then it's like your soft side comes out. I think depending on what happens here. And because I'm seeing justice, you may have very good reason to be acting like this. So I see you being open, but I see you being a little bit like withholding. But it's not in like a secretive way or anything like that. It's more so like deeming what feels appropriate for the situation is the read that I'm getting on this. This person can be a little bit back and forth with you. That may be part of the reason why you're holding this back. Because you may know that it's there for you, but you may not know that it's there for them. You know, like you may know that you're emotionally open to this person, but you may not know if they're emotionally open to you in the same way. So that can be part of the reason why. What is this Ace of Pentacles? Like, something is happening with you guys. It looks like you're doing something together. Like, you're having some new chapter with one another is... Maybe it's just the nature of the chapter that you're unsure of right now. Okay, so everybody wants this. See, you and this person do both want this chapter that's getting started, but there's definitely a question having to do with feelings here, and there can be a little bit of a figuring that out still. Like, we could do this, we could do that, we could have this, we could have that. But I see something about maybe a choice that has to be made. I see somebody looking scared, which can mean that there's somebody that they do want something and they do want to make a particular choice, but they can feel scared about doing that. That means there can be maybe a little bit of a difficulty with vulnerability here. That can be something that you'd see in this person, or if that's you, it can be something that you recognize in yourself. I'm also seeing someone that can feel like they're a little bit overworked. This desire can kind of come out of nowhere. It can be unexpected. That can be the feeling of it. Someone can also still feel like they're kind of figuring themselves out and like what they want and what they like. And I'm also seeing somebody that will stall within the energy for a while because of like avoiding something that they feel scared of and like making a choice. And that doesn't mean it's not there, and it doesn't mean that they don't want to, but they can kind of push off dealing with certain things. Like, this can be somebody that maybe they may disappear a little bit, or they may get quiet, or they may just disengage because they're like working through things, but they may not work through things in the most efficient way. So this is somebody that you can just, you could just see them, see the difference between somebody that's looking at something and facing things head on and moving through it quickly versus somebody that does things in a very different way. Like, I feel like I could go further into it, but I feel almost like there's not a need to. I don't know why I feel like I'm gonna laugh. This energy comes through sometimes within the reading, and when it does, it feels kind of like like maybe something feels a little bit awkward, maybe a little bit, maybe awkward is the right word. It's like when something's being figured out and there can be excitement and there can be a buzzing around it, but things are like, you're laughing at things that like aren't really funny because you feel kind of nervous. It's like that's the feeling that I get from this. I wonder as well if you presented something to this person that you may not reintroduce into the dynamic until you kind of see where they stand with things. I'm also getting that a little bit here, but I don't know, like, is this person actually undecided, or are they just scared? That's really what I want to know. Like, are they actually unsure, or is it something else? Because I almost don't feel like that's the case. They're still thinking about it. This can be somebody that thinks and thinks and thinks for a long, long, long time about things. Yeah, okay, listen, so this is the way that this person's energy is working. Is like, this looks like they want to make a choice. I'm seeing the energy be there. It's kind of like we want to go on a trip together, and so this person goes and they get the car filled with gas, meaning like the motivation and the fuel is there, but then they like turn off the ignition and like go inside their house and take a nap instead of doing something with that. But this feels like somebody that handles stress in maybe a weird way that may not feel like obvious ways that somebody would deal with stress, but they just happen to deal with this in a way. And it can be like they sleep or they check out a little bit. Not that that's a weird way to deal with stress, but it can be like some indirect way where you're like, oh, I didn't realize that was about this. Like, I didn't know that was what was going on, and it can maybe be misinterpreted a little bit. Because at the end of the day, I'm seeing them have the energy there for this, and I'm seeing them have the spark and the fire there for this, and that this is something that they want. But I'm also seeing them be a little bit unavailable or a little bit checked out because they're very, very scared. And that is the way that they're feeling. This feels like it's going to open up their world in a bit of a different way, and it can be a bit of a change for them. And so it can be something where they feel... I just see somebody that feels scared here. And this can be somebody that's a bit of a, like, they worry. This can be somebody that worries. You can know that about them a little bit. Even if it's in ways that you would just have certain signs that they kind of do. Like, they can be a bit of an overthinker. But from everything that I'm seeing them... The desire for this is there, definitely. But I see mental activity that feels kind of dysregulated within them, and that sometimes it's like completely off, and then sometimes it's like having issues with the volume button when it comes to their air energy, where it's like toggle it a little bit and it like turns completely off and they're like nobody's home. And then other times it's like on so much that it's so overstimulating, it's like a million channels playing all at once. Like, that's kind of their back and forth of what goes on within their head. So they can be wanting to do this, but they can also be finding a way to manage like their mental stuff that's going on, their activity. And I think this just happens to be a situation that feels like it's kind of triggering that, and they may not have the easiest time navigating their own mind. But their heart is definitely in it. I see stuff about the connection between the two of you guys. But I also see like a lot of, it's that same anxiety about getting together with you, being together with you. There's definitely like something going on there where there's a, like, I don't know what's gonna happen. There's this feeling of coming together, but there are also these questions. It's things that you can't really know. Like, you don't really know until you have the experience, and that's when those things get answered. But this person can just be like thinking about all of those things and then kind of like tiring themselves out. The opportunity is wide open for you to go places with this person. I'm seeing everything be there. It's like all the right stuff is there. You guys got all the right ingredients for the recipe. There can still be, it looks like there's something that's still being determined, but at the same time, I feel like this is already determined. There's just like a bit of avoidance here. So it can be something that hasn't really been said out loud, or maybe like I haven't made the choice yet, but it's like the choice has already been made and the feeling is already there. But what this can indicate, like the way that this can be manifesting, is that there's just a delay here. That's the way that it can be manifesting. It can be showing up. Almost as if it's like, well, I never said yes, kind of like that. I see you reading a lot into this person. You can be like reading their behavior a lot. Like it's like watching something and analyzing every move of it and like trying to soak all of it in just to understand better. So maybe this is also somebody that maybe there's something with the communication a little bit. Maybe there's something going on where you feel like you have to listen extra hard to pay attention. Feels a little bit like that to me. I'm not saying your dynamic will be like that forever, but it can feel like that now, where you feel like you're kind of paying attention to every little thing so you don't miss a clue, because maybe you feel like it's not just like wide open communication between the two of you. You can be dealing with somebody that's a bit more reserved, definitely. They also have feelings too, is what I'm seeing. In a very real way. And that may actually be a really well-defined part of them, but it may be kind of comes secondary when they initially get involved in a situation like this. So it's funny because I feel like you start off in a cups energy, but then it feels kind of like holding back a little bit in response maybe to this person and what you feel like is appropriate as far as things play out. And then I'm seeing them shift into an energy where they may want to be like more affectionate with you, and you may be holding them at arm's length just a little bit, but I'm seeing them also kind of like come around. So I see things evolving with you and this person, but I see it kind of being like, you do your part, then they're having a response to it. You may have oppositions in your synastry with this person where it can feel a little bit like back and forth that you do with them. Or even if you just have like one or two oppositions that feel very significant in your synastry, there can be a little bit of that together there too. Because if anything, like I just see stuff being delayed. I see that it's not for lack of wanting, it's more because of trying to manage anxiety and like nervousness and fear and whatnot, and somebody not having the easiest time with that. It feels like at least one person here may really struggle with that. It doesn't seem like it's the Queen of Swords energy. It looks more like it's the Queen of Pentacles energy. Also too, we have like all feminine energy here, which feels also important to remark on as well. So it can be a lot of like, I'm looking at you and seeing what you're doing, and then you're looking at me, and then we're just having this back and forth where both of us are kind of assessing one another. There can be a lot of that's happening there. But then I'm seeing things kind of move a little bit because we have a page as well. So this can be when you see things start to kind of like move around a little bit, where there can be coming to an agreement about what this is and maybe defining what this is or where things are beginning. At least it can definitely be that, but only after like much deliberation is what this seems like. But I actually see you and this person. I get the sense of you guys having a lot in common, and I also get the sense too that you guys are both very layered. And so it can come across one way initially in the interaction with you guys, but if you feel drawn together, what you're going to notice as time unfolds is like just how connected you really are. And that will be something that you see. Because I almost get like a little bit of stiffness within the energy initially, but I'm seeing a lot more going on beneath the surface, that as things progress, you're going to see those sides of things come out, and it may be something that you don't initially see, but you can kind of feel it. So it will be something that you definitely know is there. The person that's more so instigating this can be the Queen of Swords energy. I'm seeing them look like they're a little bit more forward within the energy, or take more initiative maybe. Which can also tell you something too. Like this Queen of Swords energy, even though they are a Queen of Swords, so you see somebody in a feminine energy, you also see them be connected with a Page of Wands here. And so this can be like, I kind of have to shift into this type of energy in order to approach this person, because this person that you're dealing with, I'm seeing them, I'm not seeing any masculine energy for them. So they can be somebody that's like open and receptive, and they'll say like yes or no, but it may kind of be up to you more so to make certain moves with them. But because of you coming at them as a page, I see this like very like non-intimidating energy. So maybe you're like trying to do things in a way where it's going to be disarming to this person, and like I'm seeing a gentle approach that's being taken, even though I'm seeing there's a presence there, but I'm seeing it not be overbearing within the energy. So this feels, yeah, gentle feels like the right word for this. You know, the way that I'm seeing it now with you and this person, it's making it seem like, if you're the Queen of Swords here, it's making it seem like you may actually be like not making a decision yet. Like maybe they're waiting on you a little here, and you can be like, I'm not sure yet. Because I wasn't getting that initially, but now I'm seeing something that looks like that. Like you may be deciding what you want to do with them, like what you feel like works for this situation, maybe what you want, and they can feel like they're waiting on you actually, because at first it felt like you were waiting on them, but now I'm seeing something else. So maybe that's also something that's going on too. Maybe you have some like back and forth where it's like, I'm waiting on you, and then they feel like they're waiting on you. There can be something like that. Trying to decide on what everybody wants. That's really just what it's coming down to. Why is this so stressful? I don't know. This can like feel very heavy. It can feel very weighted for some reason. Like maybe this is something where it's like you guys want this, but there's some level of intensity to this, or like signing on for something that feels kind of like a lot to be signing on for, but at the same time it's like, I want this. I get that, but then it's the factor of this feeling kind of intense with you and this person. That can be where the energy starts to get stuck a bit. Maybe you're also trying to like align your life a little bit with this person, and you may be in a little bit of different places. Something else that can be going on is that this can be a little bit like vying for control. A little bit. There can be some of that going on here. So maybe it's like, who's in charge here? And maybe they kind of want to be in charge. Maybe you kind of want to be in charge. So maybe there's something about that working out the flow with you and this person, because there can definitely be something going on where I see some very strong-willed energy. So there can be a little bit of figuring that out. Like if you have two bosses, how do you get them to collaborate with one another? And you can have two people that kind of identify as being the shot callers. So having that going on, it's just a matter of making things work. That's really it. I'm not seeing anything that can't. I'm not seeing anything too difficult. I see some type of wounding between the two of you. But I'm also seeing that you guys are the Two of Cups. So you can feel like kind of soulmate energy between the two of you. Somebody may have not made a decision about this, and that could have hurt maybe because a choice wasn't made or a choice was being put off. But something can also be not being decided upon because someone is like healing their discernment when it comes to decision making and making the right choices for themselves, because they can feel like a part of them is maybe a little bit broken, and so they can be something that they're working on here. And also something about communicating about difficult stuff. Like saying things that are true but feel difficult to say. Like having difficult conversations. Yeah, I'm seeing some situation that looked like some conversation that felt difficult between you and this person, and it looks very much like you have a history with this person. A difficult conversation that happened between you and this person that could have been like really challenging to have. And then having Eight of Cups, it can be like somebody that walked away. And having Five of Swords can be like, I still remember when that happened. It can be a little bit of that. But this also means too that it can feel like things have been unresolved between you and this person. Because I'm seeing something that looks like an open-ended issue. And it's relevant to whatever this is that's going on. So even though I'm seeing there be new chapter energy with you and this person, I'm also seeing a storyline about something else that it looks like it happened between the two of you, or it happened at least within one person's life, and there's just something about it that made things maybe complicated and can be making things complicated now. Like maybe somebody feels a type of way because of what happened. Specifically, what I find interesting about this is that it looks like an unmade choice. It looks like a choice that was never made. This doesn't look like somebody making a choice and then like people feeling a type of way about it. It feels like the choice was never actually made, and something about that feels very important to clarify about this situation. So there can also be something about like an unspecified conversation. And something that was like not worked out between you and this person. Because I'm seeing there be this energy of being at odds. Okay, so new chapter, trying to assess compatibility. I'm seeing something that feels very I'm seeing something that looks very, very loud. You know how things can begin and it's kind of like this more quiet, organic unfolding of things? I'm seeing something come together and it's just like very, very loud the way that it begins. Somebody can have Taurus placements. I'm seeing them take a long, long time to make a decision. Long, long, long time. But then I'm seeing something be clarified. So it doesn't feel like whatever that unmade decision was, whatever that was, I'm seeing there be an Ace of Swords now. And so it looks like a choice is being made at this point. But it feels like it took a long time for that. And then the assessment of what one wants, so there can be like bigger realizations about this and feeling like one is seeing things clearly and then deciding like, hey, I'm gonna go after what it is that I want. I see somebody that was avoiding just because of just looks like stuff with the shadow. But now I'm not seeing there be a holding back. But there definitely could have been before. Kind of like, I don't know if I'm up for this. I don't know if I can do this. But it's not because somebody didn't want to. Yeah, I'm seeing like you can be hanging out with this person. You can be spending time with them. You can be reconnecting with them. There's something about you guys coming together here and like things being really good. This can also mean too that somebody's like reconnected with their emotional energy in a way that they hadn't been connected with it before. But I will say I am still seeing something like intense that's going on. So maybe there's something that feels like a lot about this situation, but I'm also seeing things be good. Like maybe it's kind of like this is really intense and complicated and stressful, but then I'm seeing things be figured out. And I'm seeing you guys working with one another. You could have in general been feeling upset about things, but it does look like overall the communication is happening now. Like, I'm also seeing too, like somebody may have needed, I feel like I'm saying like over and over again. I'm sorry guys. What I'm seeing is that somebody may have needed to find themselves and make correct choices for themselves. And that could have been something that was part of this process. And maybe an individual part of the process. Maybe it was the other person. Maybe it was you. Maybe it was both of you guys. Whatever it was, I'm seeing somebody needed to connect with their Venus energy, which means that it has to do with their values among other things and what works with their energy and what doesn't work with their energy, and also making moves that one feels is best for them to be making for themselves. There's something about that had to happen. So this can mean somebody needed to be in a good place with themselves in order to make the moves that needed to be made, and it could have been something that wasn't happening before. But then I'm seeing there be like, it looks like regret over it. It can be sad. Somebody feeling distraught. And then I'm seeing that things end up, like what's hidden behind the moon is the Fool. So what this means is that then it's like, okay, we're going to do this then. But it wasn't starting off like that. The interesting thing is that even though it can seem like whatever was going on with you guys before was what was going on, and it may have felt kind of like unofficial, whatever it was that was happening, or like, does this even count as us having a chapter with one another? That's what it felt like, whatever was happening before. But I'm actually getting that it was like a really important chapter that was taking place for both of you guys within your journey. So even though it could have felt like it wasn't like you arm in arm with this person moving through that, it still was actually a cycle of collaboration between the two of you. But now the chapter that's getting started, it looks like it's going to be a different type, where you guys can be more connected with one another, and there can be a more like evolving together that's happening. The advice is just to be open, to be open-minded, and for you to be making moves that feel very honest, and just giving yourself permission to do whatever it is that you want to be doing here and not hold yourself back. All right, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.